everyone, thank you so much for joining me. Today I just wanted to make a comparison video between childbirth in Nigeria, say Africa, and childbirth in France, Europe. I have three children. One is 12, the second is 10, and the other is 2. Yeah, there's a huge gap. There's a huge gap there. So I wanted to make a comparison in terms of competence, compassion, the epidural experience, hyperemesis, which is a very, very severe pregnancy sickness, therapy, long hospital admission, and of course finance. So I'll start by talking about my childbirth. The first one was in Abuja, the second one in Lagos, and the third one in France. So the first one I had a baby in Abuja. I would say that was my first experience of pregnancy and childbirth. At that point, I didn't even know that I would have something called hyperemesis. I just knew that I was very sick, so sick. I was forced to go to the hospital, especially because I had a trip to Kenya. I think that's when I was about 6 weeks or 12 weeks pregnant. No, maybe 6 weeks pregnant. And I had a trip to Kenya to go pick up an award. But I was so sick that my siblings said, you just have to go to the hospital. So I was taken to the hospital and I was admitted. And then, they took care of me. There was a lot of compassion. They helped me, understand what the problem was. And then I also spoke with my auntie who was having the same problem. So my auntie also has this hyperemesis. 4 pregnancies she had hyperemesis. Hers is even worse than mine because she stays at home for almost all through her pregnancy, and thank God that her husband is a doctor. And he also, I'll talk about their story later. But so when I got to the hospital and then they took care of me, they put some infusion because I was really dehydrated. I was not eating. With hyperemesis, it's impossible for you to eat and keep something down. So I didn't know what the problem was until she told me, this is the same thing that happened to me. You need to go to the hospital. Her husband, who's a doctor, he really managed me well. He would tell me what to do, what to eat and what not to eat. I just could not eat anything. But the night I went to the hospital, they were able to, take care of me. And then I was able to travel, I think that same night. My flight was that night, so I was able to travel. And then when I got again to Kenya, that would be another podcast. I was vomiting. I went to the United Nations for a conference, and I was just, outside vomiting. I was so sick. My friend found me, my friend Mobala and Dr. Newton Jibuno, they found me vomiting. They said, oh God, they didn't even know I was coming to Kenya. And they said, oh my God, this is Ugochi. Imagine seeing your friend in a new country and you're seeing her sick on the floor. So anyway, in terms of competence, I would say that Nigerian doctors are known world over, to be competent doctors. They're very knowledgeable. They know exactly what they're doing. And we know, of course, the problem in Nigeria is that they don't have enough support, equipment, finance, to do their job. And that's why a lot of them end up leaving Nigeria. So competence, I've never had any doubts, about doctors in Nigeria. My 2 pregnancies in Nigeria. And also, I usually don't have any issues during pregnancy apart from the first 3 months where I have hyperemesis. Subsequently, I'm fine. Everything is good. So I've not had CS. I've just had vaginal births, and there was absolutely no issue. So the first, when they took care of me that first time with hyperemesis, they supported me. And then also in Lagos, when I was pregnant in Lagos with my second son, I also had hyperemesis, but this time, I wouldn't compare it to the first one. The first one was really bad. But the second one I had, I would say I had support, and I was able to manage it with experience. But this thing, I don't think experience can help you. Hyperemesis is terrible. It is terrible. But anyways, I think my third pregnancy was, oh Lord, it was horrible. It was horrible. I'll talk about that because I was so sick. I had lots of issues, emotional issues, too many issues. And then my father was also dead. He was in the mortuary. I was in the hospital. It was a difficult time for me. Such a difficult time for me. So that sickness was terrible. But anyway, competence wise, then I would say comparing it to the competence of those here, in managing that hyperemesis as well, I would say they're all experienced. The only bad incident that I observed was when I went to here in France. I went to, usually you have a doctor, you go to the doctor's cabinet if you're sick or if you have, you have your own doctor. So I went to the doctor's cabinet. It's when it gets serious, that's when you have to go to the hospital. So I went to the doctor's cabinet, to say I'm really sick. And the secretary, she's not the doctor. So I would forgive her because she's a secretary. She may not understand. And she actually said that, oh, I mean, this is pregnancy that people have at this pregnant. I was trying to say, I am so sick. I want to go to take me to the hospital. I want to go to the hospital. And she said, oh, it's just pregnancy sickness. Oh my God, that was so painful. That was so painful. I forgive her because I don't know if she has children, if she's ever had the experience with hyperemesis, and it was my first pregnancy in France, so I really didn't know much that I should have called the ambulance. I shouldn't have, tried to tell them that I'm sick and I want to go to the hospital. It was also my mistake, but now I know better. Next time, no, I don't want to finish a beg. If I know anyone, I'll tell them, call the ambulance immediately. Call the ambulance. So I think that was the only, negative support that I got. So when I got to the hospital, when I was finally taken to the hospital, I said, I got to the hospital and they checked me. They said, oh, you're dehydrated. They checked my heartbeat, checked a lot of things, and they said, we're going to admit you. You're not going home. You have to stay. And I'm grateful to one particular doctor because, of course, when you go to the urgence, like the emergency, there are so many people there. So you have to still wait. But I couldn't. I said, I'm dying. It took them some time also to listen to me, to when it got to my turn. And then when they were still checking, they were like, okay, what is going on? I said, no, I cannot stand up. The man said, oh, I think, we have to admit you. And they started with infusions, and started taking care of me. And, so I would say comparing that with Nigerian system, there was a lot of competence. They understood what was going on with me and they took care of me. Compassion as well. Oh, compassion. I think, here they are compassionate. In Nigeria, I would say the nurses, they were kind. But when I was having my first child, I had gone just to check if I was due because my water had not broken. I didn't have any signs. But I said, I was feeling, I told them I had what's it called? I had the blood, it came out. So they said, are you sure? But the woman wanted to check. I was so nervous, and then she broke the water. She said, see what you've caused now. I didn't want to break this water now. You have to stay, you have to keep you, And then they kept me. And when it was time for me to push, I said, I want to push, and then I urinated on the nurse. She came to check me, and that's what I remember. She shouted. I said, what is wrong with you? How can you see my body now? See what you don't do now. I said, sorry ma. And then she said, okay, no problem. She went and changed and came back. I don't know if a different nurse would have handled it differently and not even said, oh, look at what you've done now. They'll probably understand that. I don't know. If you're a nurse, tell me. Would you have understood if a pregnant woman who was about to push urinated on you, would you have shouted and said, why? Look at what you've done to my body now, because I couldn't control it. You understand? So in terms of that as well, when I had the baby here, this one was my childbirth was so fast. My first one, I think it took me about 5 hours. Subsequent ones, my second son, 30 minutes, done. The third one, I thought it was going to take time because of the time, the years. I've gone 8 years, but it was also fast. So, and so in terms of compassion, I would say they both understood what I was going through, and they both, in both countries, the staff understood what I was going through, and they helped me. Epidural, oh yeah, I didn't get any. I've never had an epidural. But here, at least they told me about, the chances that you might get. I told them I didn't want to get an epidural because normally part of your antenatal classes is towards the end. I think towards your 7 months or 8 months, you would go to a course, a little course on epidural care. They'll show you the needle, tell you what's going to happen. They're going to put it, in your spine. I said already that because I've heard stories about the epidural, and I said, I have had to in Nigeria, and I didn't need an epidural. Yes, I'm older now, but I just didn't. I was wishing and praying that I would need an epidural. So as she was telling me, I listened to her, but in my mind and in my head, I said, this needle will not enter my back. This needle will not enter my back. But I listened. So In Nigeria at that time, 2012 and 2024, I don't know, it wasn't quite popular. I don't know about now, but then nobody suggested an epidural to me. Nigerians, we push it like powerful women. No epidural. So the first two, no epidural. So when they spoke to me about it, I said, okay, no problem. And then when I got in, the pain was intense. Oh my God. But when they would check me, they said, madam, you're still like 8 centimeters. But the pain, they're seeing that, they're seeing it from the monitor that it's intense pain. But it was 10 centimeters or 8 centimeters. They said, we don't understand what is going on. But let's give it 30 minutes. They'll come back. And then with the third time they came, they said, the baby is coming. Go, 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 go. This was within 30 minutes. So I realized that pain, it was, I was still, far from dilating perfectly, but I was in pain. So it happened so quickly. I went from like 8 to almost 2, and then when they took me immediately to the ward to have my baby. And then when the doctor, at that point I was in pain. I didn't even know how long it was going to last. How many more hours I need to wait or minutes. And then at that point I said, no, I think God. They said, initially they said, do you want epidural? I said, no. Now at this point I said, bring it, give me this epidural, bring it. So they went to call the doctor. They started preparing to administer this. But just right when they had gone to call the doctor, just before they came out, I said, I want to push. So, what? The doctor is on his way. They checked, push. That was it. I didn't get the epidural. So the universe heard me, God heard me, and they said, okay, you don't want the epidural. You're not getting the epidural. So it happened so quickly, And then, so that's the comparison. Nigeria, I didn't have that option. Here, I had the option, to get an epidural. And my second son, I had him. It was dark. And when I got to the hospital, there was no light. And then they turned, I think there was lights, generator was on, but in the labor room, there was no bulb. They came in, turned on the light, the bulb was not working. So they quickly, before they could put the bulb, I was already ready to push. And then they just had rechargeable lamp, and I pushed using a rechargeable lamp. So of course that would never happen in France. Definitely would never happen in France, except there's a tsunami or a natural disaster, but never, it would never happen in France. So that was in terms of the infrastructure and the equipment in the hospital. Of course France is better developed than Nigeria. You cannot make that comparison. Therapy. In France, I was offered therapy. I don't know about now in Nigeria. I believe that with, the conversation around mental health and people's, emotional and mental well-being, I'm sure that they should be able to, right now in Nigeria, probably providing those services. But in France, when I was admitted twice with hyperemesis. The second time, this doctor, they would come, every time the nurses walked in, I was crying. Every time out. They said, do you want therapy? And I had to tell them, my father died. He's still in the mortuary. They said, do you want us to call a therapist, to speak with you? I said, absolutely. It was my first time I was seeing a therapist. They called in somebody. She came, she spoke to me. She counseled me, asked me questions, it's still emotional for me right now. So I, spoke with her, and it really helped me out. In Nigeria, I didn't get that, when I had hyperemesis. Of course, comparing my experience then and, between those 3 childbirths, they are totally different. So the circumstances were all different. So at this particular time in my life, I needed that, someone to speak to, and then they helped me. And even after that, they told me, after when you've been discharged, you can also get someone to come in and help you out. They even have the option of someone, because they know that here most people are, you have no relatives. You probably just have your spouse or you're alone. And then they even said, we can arrange for someone to come in and help you clean the house, help you cook for the children. They had that. Government might also assist you with paying for the services, and sometimes you pay yourself, but it just depends. Everything is calculated according to what you earn. But that option was there for me, to get someone to come in and care. And compared to Nigeria, it's different. In Nigeria, you'd have family, you have friends, but family, especially family, your mom, your sisters, your brothers, your in-laws, they are most times always they are available to help you, in this kind of situation. But here, Rian, you're on your on your own. So they had, they offered me that. I didn't take it, but that option was there because I think I tried. I tried to call. My French was bad. It was complicated. But at some point, that was towards the end of hyperemesis. So I think oh yes, by the time I was discharged, I had gotten better. It had run its course. It lasted for 3 months. Usually it takes 3 months, and then at the third month it's over. So I remember, at that third month when they were discharging me and asking me, do you need help? When I got home, I was already feeling better. That the second admission, if they probably had made that offer during the first admission, maybe I would have really worked hard to get that. But it's okay. It's another story. And then hospital admission. Yeah, they would offer you food. In Nigeria, the hospitals they don't offer you food. The family will bring food for you. After having a baby, they'll bring food for you. Here, I think they can bring food. Someone can bring something to you, but there's always, they serve you every morning, they serve you lunch, dinner, and they serve you accordingly. They give you food that is good for your body. There's tea, there are lots of fruits and vegetables, yogurt, the vital ingredient, vital food with the nutrients that a new mom would need. They won't give you Jim Miracle, no greeners. They're not offering that. I said, oh my God, if it's in Nigeria, I'll get Jim Miracle, no greeners. So I didn't get that here. So it's totally different. And I wanted to talk about finance here in France. Every pregnant woman, I believe it's every pregnant woman. I don't know if it's according to, no, I think it's everyone gets some amount of money to help you, take care of your personal need, buy things for the baby. I think it's in your 4th month or 6th month. I don't know. I can't remember. But they'll send you some money to help you, take care of your baby and buy the things that you need. Prepare for the arrival of the child. In Nigeria, no, we don't have that. Except Governor Ibazu that gave women 500 naira is like 500 naira is like 50 cents. He offered them 50 cents. Oh my God. So you don't have that option. So comparing that, yes, that financially also there's support for you, every pregnant woman, to buy the things you need for your child. And like that's a good one, when it comes to the system in France. It's quite supportive. It helps pregnant women. The system helps pregnant women to be not to think about so much about work and finance. And then I think also for those who work in France, I am self-employed here. For those who work, I think maternity leave is 12 weeks, I think. That's 3 months. Not nice at all. Not nice at all. I think it's the same thing in Nigeria also, 3 months. And after that, if you wish to stay longer, you wouldn't earn any salary, Hospital admission also, people are not allowed, maybe family members at a certain time, family members are not allowed to sleep over. In Nigeria, I think at some point they would allow one person to sleep with you, but here it's not allowed. Nobody sleeps over. You come watch the child, and then people come in to help you take care of the child. Oh, I'll make it an entire video of how supportive they are with breastfeeding. In Nigeria, in France, oh my God, incredible support. They both countries, both healthcare workers there, they want you to breastfeed your child because they believe in this whole breastfeeding, baby milk is gold. They believe that in the first 1,000 days of the baby's life is important. I think many years ago in France, they didn't. They're trying now to encourage women. A lot of people started just offering their children baby formula, but they're trying so hard to help women to begin to breastfeed, do the exclusive breastfeeding for 6 months. Here, when I had my child here, I was given a breast pump. They have the hospital grade breast pump that they offered me, and they helped me, showed me how to do it. There'll be what's it called again? I can't remember what it's called. A sage femme who is a midwife or a nurse whose role is to help you lactate. So the person would come in, speak to you, tell you, how to use the breast pump, try to breastfeed the baby, encourage you to, bring baby to breast. This bring baby to breast, I heard it in Nigeria with my first child. The nurses were so good. They said, oh, bring baby to breast, don't take breast to baby. Oh, they were so good. And there's something they will do. I have huge nipples. It's at the beginning it's always difficult for the child to lash onto mine. So there's something they do in Nigeria. They use a syringe, big syringe, to try to pull out the nipple. And then my mother-in-law would tell me at that point that, always pull it out. You use your finger to massage it and pull it out. And then when my mom would come for omogo as well, she would, really help me try to pull out the nipple. You should help you with, oh my God, omogo. I didn't get omogo. I didn't get omogo here. Oh my God, Nigerian omogo it's beautiful. It's such a good experience for the mother and for the child as well. So I just wanted to quickly share this video to make that comparison. And I think, I got good care. I've never had such any bad experience, I would say. I've just been so blessed to meet good doctors and nurses who've been so kind to me, who've been supportive, and I hope that everyone gets this experience of childbirth. That I would say apart from hyperemesis, I've always had easy pregnancies and easy childbirth, and I wish that for everyone. Thank you so much for watching, and then let me know, where do you live? Have you had a child in this country and in that country? What experiences have you had? What comparisons can you make? Bye.